This is Kay Kritiques. Hello, my lovely listeners. You are tuned in to Kay Kritiques, a segment on this channel where we discuss all things South African television. And we are reviewing 016 FM, The Voice of the Wild, Season 1, Episode 4 to 6. Let's get into it. So the episode picks up. We are at Bra Pi's place. Whiskey is there playing a set. Latoya shows up and Whiskey seems taken with her, and she seems to be reciprocating. And I'm still confused about what's going on there. Are they feeling each other or what's going on? I'm still not sure about them, so I don't want to say too much. I don't have an issue with it, but at the same time, it's like, should I root for them considering Whiskey's personality? I don't know. They start trending and everybody's shipping them, but on the other hand, we have Tsietsi, who's become a laughing stock. The professor sees nothing wrong with it, and it's like, nobody even asked you for your help, so why did you even do this? And he doesn't know what a hashtag is. Why is the hashtag at the end? He doesn't see a problem with it. Tsietsi is fuming. Tsietsi is furious because he's like, who did this and why did they do this? And then he finds out that it's his dad who did this. One thing about me, I will never root for deadbeat. If you've watched my adulting videos, you know that Bonga's dad, I really was not feeling him until he died. But anyways, let's get back to this. Now, Latoya has listeners calling in and they're asking, we saw that video of you and Whiskey. Are you guys dating? And she denies dating him on air. Meanwhile, Whiskey's out there telling everybody that, yeah, Latoya's my girl, blah, blah, blah. And Latoya's like, no, me and Whiskey are literally just friends and we are just colleagues. And Whiskey, then being salty, claims that he's only using her for the gual, but we know he's feeling her, so I don't know why he's denying this. We see Queen doing a makeover at the station, buying new equipment, new furniture, and she actually bought it using Bra Pi's money, and it's going to be a massive debt they're gonna have to pay back over the years. And I have a feeling that when it comes down to it, Bra Pi is gonna call in her favor. He's gonna call in a favor when they least expect it and say, well, all this equipment that's in here is mine and you guys owe me, so it's either you pay me my money back or I'm closing down the station. But then anyways, this station makeover actually gives Tsietsi this idea that he himself needs a makeover. And I really do think he needs one. He needs one because he's so young, but he acts and dresses like an old man. And I do think that it might have to do with him having to grow up too fast in order to look after his mom, and him having to be the man of the house because the dad left the house and divorced the mom and went overseas. And I also feel like the mom didn't really allow him to be a child, not only because she got dementia, but because maybe after the divorce, you know how those moms are, the boy moms are, where they turn their sons into their lovers subconsciously, not that they end up being in romantic relationships with their sons, but I mean the way that they interact with their kids, turn the kids into a husband. And we see Karabo on the other hand, she wants to host, and my chat is, why is no one giving her a chance? Why has no one ever noticed? She's always in the studio practicing, she's always around people. Why has no one ever said, Karabo's been reading the news here for a long time, so she's comfortable on radio. Why don't we maybe try and improve her skills? Maybe she could have a slot somewhere. Give her a 1 hour or 30-minute slot on Latoya's show, on Tsietsi show, on Whiskey show. See where it goes from there. Why has no one ever done it? I don't know why, but I feel like this is gonna play a major role because we see Tsietsi doesn't even notice Karabo's interest in broadcasting because he asked her to to be his campaign manager instead of helping out with the choir by actually presenting. And she was very, very disappointed because not only does she have a crush on him, which we've noticed and Latoya has also noticed, but she also wants to present. I don't know why no one is giving her a chance. Queen and Pius meet up, and we soon realize that the equipment was a decoy to get the boxes of Pius' stuff in there before the raid. Because Pius is about to be raided by the police, he wants to use 016 FM as a storage space. That is actually very, very smart. But anyways, Tsietsi asks Queen for a makeover, and his makeover is a hit. But now there's a disconnect between him and his core fans, which is the older generation, because now they're like, oh, you're turning into this person that we didn't associate with you. We thought you were better than the other people. We thought the youth could see you as an example, because now he's going to clubs, he has girls twerking on him, and he's becoming more popular with the youth, right? And this newfound popularity is actually making Whiskey nervous, because he was the one more in tune with the youth. So he thought, I have the youth on my side. But now that the youth is supporting Team Tsietsi, he's getting shaken a bit. And he calls up Brapias and is like, Brapia, remember that favor that I asked of you, as we talked about in episode 1 to 3, where he asked Brapia to actually help him to convince DJ Masedi to be on his team. Masedi actually switches sides without even consulting with Tsietsi. That was low. Because here Tsietsi is saying, oh, DJ Masedi is on Team Tsietsi, blah, 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 live on air. And then Masedi goes on his Instagram and is like, I'm Team Whiskey. We all grew up in Sebeng, 18. And it's like, what? And on this other hand, Karabo is busy having a jealous fit because like, why did Tsietsi ask Queen to do the makeover and not me? You thought he was fine the way he was when he needed a makeover. Karabo girl, I feel like, why do you have so much jealousy over somebody that's not yours? You and Tsietsi are not dating. He doesn't even notice you. He doesn't even see you like that. So why are you so jealous? Latoya actually tries to convince her. He's like, just tell him how you feel, tell him your feelings. And I'm like, I hear that chat, Latoya, but one thing about Guavava, it's going to save you a lot of trouble. Karabo, I don't think Tsietsi is feeling you like that, and that would blow up in her face. I do not want her to do that at all. You see, Queen, she's still running these ads that they're using to send coordinates to Pius's people. He actually asked Keith to do the ad, and he's like, do not change one single word. But Keith actually changes the words because he wanted to make it more interesting. On this other hand, Latoya is busy looking for sponsors. We see Whiskey hosting auditions. He got this idea from Tsietsi, who was also hosting auditions. And we see that it's not going well. It's either everybody is trying to copy Whiskey, or we see people trying to copy Latoya. So they're not being original, they're not being authentic. And it's really just not going well. Like, the people who came to audition for Team Tsietsi, it's like, they all kind of suck. So it really wasn't going well for Team Whiskey. And I feel like Team Whiskey is not winning at all, other than the ass tag thing, which has now turned on Tsietsi's favor because it trended and it got him that exposure. And now he's popular with the youth because of his makeover. It's like, you're down. You're down bad. You're down 2-0, my guy. And Tsietsi visits his mom after the whole makeover thing and him having that disconnect with his core fans. He asks his mom for advice and she seems to be okay. They're having a conducive conversation, a constructive conversation, where the mother is basically telling her that I started this station to help the community, not for popularity and for fame. And I don't want you to be inauthentic where you change into somebody you're not just because you won votes. That's not how I raised you, and that's not what 016 FM stands for. She actually motivates Tsietsi, and Tsietsi actually leaves. He goes to the station and is like, what happened on that video, it's not who I am, and I want to be authentic, and I don't want anything to hold me back, the things that are holding me back in life. And it became this whole conversation that I think also raised the awareness to the youth, because I feel like this show is more catered for the youth, trying to teach us that you can either go Team Whiskey way, or you can go Team Tsietsi way. There's only one way or another. You can either grind and actually stay true to yourself and work hard and be authentic, or you can go out there and be seeking validation from people and do things because you want to please people, but they're actually leading you down a destructive path. Not that Whiskey's going down a destructive path, but he might as well be, because he goes to a criminal to ask for favors and he's trying to sabotage Team Tsietsi because he doesn't want to work hard. He doesn't want to work for the things that he wants. He just wants them to be handed to him on a silver platter. So I like that dichotomy, I like that duality and the stark differences between them, which actually helps you to see who do you support. Like, in you supporting one person or the other displays and shows what type of person, because it has to resonate with you, right? If you resonate more with Tsietsi, you're going to support Tsietsi. If you resonate more with Whiskey, you're going to support Whiskey. But it's like, why do you support Whiskey? Why do you support Tsietsi? What do you see in these two individuals that strikes and relates to you that would make you want to root for them? As soon as he gets off of air, Tsietsi receives 7 missed calls from his mom, and he's rushing to the hospital because he's thinking, and we were all thinking, that something bad really did happen. But it was a false alarm. She was just calling him to congratulate him, and we're thinking all is good and dandy until she collapses. Remember how Queen gave Keith that ad, and Keith actually changed up the words because he wanted it to sound more coherent, he wanted it to sound more bougie and more fancy and more aesthetically pleasing? Well, we see Whiskey and TK involved in a shootout with whom we assume is Pi's people and the police. There was one fatality, which was Mapula, an 18-year-old who just so happens to be TK's school friend. Now, Pi is furious about this because it's bringing more eyes on him from the cops, and he actually threatens to unalive Queen. We actually see Karabo also overhearing Queen talking to somebody about the fatality. We assume that he's talking with Pi, and her suspicions rise because she's saying things like, I don't know how there was a mix-up, it will never happen again, I never wanted anybody to die. Her suspicions are on the rise, and she already doesn't like him because of the whole Tsietsi makeover thing, right? Speaking of Tsietsi, his mom has an episode that gives insight into what type of dad Prof is, where we see that he was always putting work first. Mama Jane was actually in her episode seeing Tsietsi as the dad and was like, do you want your child to grow up without a father? Why do you always put work in front of your family? You're always working, you're never around, you're never here. Mama Jane having another hectic episode, and the Prof actually comes to the hospital and he says, I didn't come because of my pride, it didn't allow me. We hear Mama Jane saying, Mosoeu, please do forgive me. And the Prof is like, I already forgave you. And we're like, forgave you for what? Because you was the one who was in the wrong. So how are you the one forgiving Mama Jane? What's going on here? And Tsietsi is not happy at all about how things are turning out, because he's like, why is this guy even here? After the assurance from Queen that nothing else is gonna happen, there's no longer gonna be any mix-ups with the ads, we see Pi is planning more heights, and now we have this thing called Operation Baywatch, which is happening this month. And I'm like, what is Operation Baywatch? There's a lot of operations in this scheme of this. There's Operation Phoenix, there's Operation Baywatch, but we don't know what any of these operations mean because we don't get any insight into Pi's life. We just see, oh, here's an ad, read the ad, and then there's a robbery or there's a heist happening. And it's like, but we also want to see how Pi works. We want to be on the in to know what Pi is planning. What does Operation Baywatch mean? Why is it happening? Where is it happening? So that we know more. Because if you say Operation Baywatch, we don't even know when Operation Baywatch is happening. Because in the other episode it was Operation Phoenix, and I'm like, okay, but what is Operation Phoenix? We didn't even know that Operation Phoenix was happening until we saw the heist at the end of episode 3. It's so mysterious, and I don't know if they intended for it to be, or it's just a filler. Like, I don't know what's going on with the Pi storyline. and how it's gonna link back in the end, because it doesn't really have any effect. We haven't seen the raid from the police, we haven't seen him hiding the stuff. We saw when Queen went with Tsietsi to the club that they were supposed to go into the station and actually put the stuff in there, but we didn't see that. We didn't see that. Were they successful in their mission? We don't know. And at the end of episode 6, we see Mama Jane coding and she eventually passes on. That was such an emotional scene, her passing away like that, Tsietsi breaking down, because essentially Mama Jane is the only parent that he had, because the dad was a deadbeat. He just lost his mom, and as much as you know it's coming, especially because of her condition and her episodes were getting more frequent, it's like you never really prepare for it. You can never really prepare for death, right? Here he was thinking that she's getting better. It was a sad episode. What a way to end the episode. What a way to end the episode. We went high, then we went low. But I'm very glad that Tsietsi had those moments with his mom where she was still coherent, where she was still there, you know, and was able to actually have the conversation where his mom motivates him. And I'm glad that Prof actually came to the hospital and she had peace when she passed, because she had been asking about the dad for quite some time. I'm pretty sure that when she passed, she was at a complete peace with everything. Tsietsi just cannot catch a break. One moment his mom's station is shutting down, the next moment his mom is dying, the deadbeat dad is sabotaging his campaign to save the station. It's just a lot, man. It's just a lot, and we're only on episode 6. But I really enjoyed these 3 episodes, and I can't wait to see what's next. I know maybe the next few episodes are going to be gloomy. We're going to be grieving and mourning, of which I'm like, okay, we need to do that, and that needs to happen. And hopefully now Tsietsi's full attention is going to be towards winning the Kwa and actually saving his mother's station, because now he has even more reason to save it, because it's his mom's legacy and his mom just passed away. Yeah guys, that is 016 FM, the voice of the Val, season 1 episode 4 to 6. Please do let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Like this video and press that red subscribe button. Turn it gray, please. It really does help out with the algorithm. And I will see you guys in the next one.